On this episode of True Crime Black, we look at the missing persons case of a 25-year-old geologist. Before he disappeared, his family and friends recalled some strange behavior that they still can't explain. Recently, a crucial update has been made public and we will hopefully start getting answers. With that said, let's get started. The father of a missing Arizona-based geologist is desperately searching for answers. He is still struggling to understand how his son has been missing for over a year and there have not been any answers regarding his disappearance. He has been searching relentlessly for his son since the day he went missing, and he claims that there is a significant factor that is hurting his chances at getting answers. That would be the lack of attention that his case is getting. On June 23, 2021, Daniel Robinson was last seen in Buckeye, Arizona. Daniel worked as a hydrogeologist in the area. On the day in question, Daniel was at the site where he worked when, according to his coworkers, he just suddenly left without saying anything. The following month, on July 19, a rancher made a crucial discovery. The rancher had located Daniel Robinson's 2017 Jeep Renegade. It was battered and had been rolled onto its passenger side while laying in a ravine. The 25-year-old was, reportedly, not making sense on the morning that he disappeared. Daniel Robinson had been to one worksite and had arrived at the second location, in Buckeye, at around 9 a.m. on June 23. While he was at the second worksite, located 1/2 mile west of Cactus Road and Sun Valley Parkway, Robinson was said to have been saying things that did not make sense. An example of such was him asking if his coworker wanted to go rest and then asked if he wanted to go to Phoenix to rest, according to a police report. Robinson stayed at the job site for about 15 minutes before he suddenly got into his car and drove away. His colleagues saw Daniel wave to him as if he was waving goodbye, the report states. The colleague says that Daniel didn't say anything. He just walked over to his Jeep and drove away from the area. He was last seen driving south on the dirt road from the job site. He has not been seen since. By 7 p.m. that night, Robinson's family had grown concerned after they heard from his coworkers and were unable to get in touch with him. One of Robinson's sisters, who lived in Phoenix, went to check his apartment. She was unable to find him there. Out of a growing concern, David Robinson called the police. The police were able to look into Daniel's bank records from around the time of his disappearance. The bank records show he made a purchase at a Buckeye Shell service station on June 23, the day he was last seen. He also went to a Waffle House restaurant for dinner the night before. Any information about a more recent bank transactions were redacted from the police report. It is noteworthy that they may not even exist at all. The police then worked with Daniel's cell phone provider to see if they could pinpoint his phone's location. That attempt proved unsuccessful. In the days leading up to his disappearance, the police heard some concerning things from his family and friends. Family and friends recalled how, in the days before his disappearance, Robinson had begun acting strange. When asked by police to elaborate, his sister recounted an instance when Daniel went to her apartment and would just sit there for about 30 minutes and wouldn't say anything. She said she tried to talk to him, but he would just sit there and not respond. He then walked out of the apartment. Then, Robinson had told friends and family about a woman he had recently met. He told his sister he was in love with her and really made it sound as if they were in a relationship together. Sadly, that would be contradicted by the woman in question. Investigators were eventually able to track down the woman, who had a different version of events. The woman told police she met Robinson on the night of June 12, when he was working as an Instacart delivery worker. It turns out that Daniel was the person who had delivered their food that night. She said that Daniel was very nice and she and her female friend asked Daniel if he wanted to hang out with them upon meeting him at the door. She allegedly told the police she and her friend were drunk and she regrets inviting a stranger into her home. After leaving, Robinson realized that he had forgotten something outside the woman's home. They both texted back and forth in the subsequent days about him going to get it. She reportedly responded by saying to him, "Yes, you can pick it up whenever." It appears that Daniel Robinson may have taken that literally. He showed up to her house without her permission while she was not home. When she learned that this happened, the woman told police that she became uncomfortable. He then began to text her a lot more frequently, and allegedly continued to show up to her home unannounced. The nature of his text messages to her also began to change. At one point, on June 17th, he texted her, "I couldn't stop thinking about you." Then, on June 19th, he texted her asking if they could hang out. He then allegedly texted her saying "I love you" at a little after midnight. The next morning, she responded to one of his texts with a straightforward approach. According to the report, the woman texted Daniel saying, "Honestly, you showing up at my house unannounced made me extremely uncomfortable. I will not be home today, but I don't see us hanging out anytime soon." He responded to her text and received no response. He then texted her again multiple times the following day, all without getting any answer, telling her that he was outside of her house. The two then began a back and forth through text, ending with a confrontation. Daniel asked the woman if she hated him. She responded saying, "I don't hate you, but please leave me alone." Apparently, the Buckeye Police Department's questions about the young woman with whom Daniel had been involved started to ring a bell. The conversations reminded David of one of his most recent phone calls with his son, just 1 or 2 days before he went missing. He did mention the young lady, Robinson recalled. "And that's one of the things I did discuss with the Buckeye Police Department when he was inquiring on us of anything we could think of." David said that his son did tell him when he met the woman. He would also go on to share details about her that would become relevant later on. Robinson said he thought, at the time, that he and Daniel were just having a normal father-son conversation. He didn't realize how important the conversation would later become. The Buckeye police did make David aware of the details of the text messages Daniel shared with the woman. He expressed that it bothered him. "That concerned me a lot," he said. "If he's making someone feel uncomfortable, that wouldn't fly right with me." Daniel Robinson was described as a very hardworking, driven, and undeterred individual. He was born without his right hand and never once let that stop him from pursuing his dreams, according to his father David Robinson II. Outside of that medical condition, there was no other noteworthy issues Daniel was dealing with. He also had no mental health history that would bring about any concern. Close friends and family didn't believe that he would ever intentionally do something to harm himself. Despite all of the time that has passed, and that would be months upon months, Daniel's family has not received any answers. His family consists of his older brother, twin sisters, his mother, and his father. The Robinsons have had to embark on their own journey for answers after witnessing what they feel like is a lackluster investigation by the police. On June 23, 2022, the one-year anniversary of Daniel Robinson's disappearance, the Buckeye Police Department released a statement briefly describing their investigative efforts. The statement reads, "When a loved one is missing, it is a terrifying, confusing, and stressful time for families and our entire community. Investigators continue their pursuit of answers that can bring Daniel home and provide closure for the Robinson family and the many people who have been touched by his case." David Robinson has spoken with several different media outlets hoping to garner attention for his son's case. He has specifically done a lengthy interview with Fox News Digital where he expressed a lot about how he viewed the Buckeye Police's investigation thus far. He said that he felt as though the police did not give enough attention to his son's case, and that had been the reason for the lack of leads and other information. David has even had to leave his home in South Carolina for a home in Arizona. This is all in the hopes of finding answers himself. He also hired a private investigator to look into Daniel's case. "I have to stay strong for Daniel," David told Fox News Digital. David, who has a military background and served 2 tours in Afghanistan, said he is using his military training to stay motivated during this trying time. He says, Just because I'm retired doesn't mean I stopped being a soldier. My son, he's my mission. He's my new mission. Ted Williams is regarded as a renowned attorney and former homicide detective. Williams spoke out in defense of the Buckeye police, hoping to protect them from criticism. He noted that he believes that the police are all doing a lot of work behind the scenes that are not being noticed by those who are not privy. He even added that missing person investigations can be difficult to deal with because they change drastically as more time goes on. He says, "The closer to the time that the person is missing, the better are the opportunities and chances at getting good physical evidence," he said. "The longer a case goes on, the evidence itself, normally under circumstances, will disappear." Despite his defense of the investigation, Williams did agree with one important facet of David Robinson's criticisms. Williams also spoke to Fox News Digital, where he acknowledged that black missing persons cases get far less attention than others. He said, "I do not believe that all cases concerning folk of color that go missing get nearly the same treatment that cases of the missing and specifically missing white women get," he said. "But the longer a case is out there, the more the evidence itself becomes lacking." On July 19, 2021, just weeks after Daniel's disappearance, the Buckeye police received a call from a rancher who spotted Robinson's Jeep in a ravine less than 3 miles from his work site. It was rolled over onto its passenger side, according to the police report, though its exact location was redacted. The vehicle had significant damage and appeared to have had a front impact with the dirt and rolled before resting on the passenger side, the report further states. All of the airbags appeared to have been deployed, the car was still in drive, and the driver's side seatbelt appeared to have been buckled at the time of the crash. Strangely, according to the police investigators, the vehicle's speed increased immediately before impact. Even more strange, investigators recovered at the scene a pair of inside-out jeans, a t-shirt, 2 inside-out socks, a pair of brown work-type boots, and a faded orange vest with the company logo. They also found what appeared to be a wallet. The Jeep appeared to have suffered rain damage. Inside of the Jeep was Daniel Robinson's cell phone, his car and home keys, and a backpack with work equipment, police said. There was a hard hat filled with rainwater inside of the car. So far, neither Daniel nor his remains have been found. The police said they did not see any blood or signs of an injury at the scene. Despite the police department's statements that they conducted forensic searches for DNA on and inside the vehicle, David Robinson said that he is not satisfied with their efforts. He is working to raise the funds, using a GoFundMe, needed to pay for such examinations himself. Recently, skeletal remains were found in a remote desert area of Buckeye, Arizona. Almost immediately, speculation that they were the remains of Daniel Robinson began to form. So far, the police have not confirmed or denied if the remains belong to Daniel Robinson. Until more information comes to light, Daniel Robinson is still considered missing.